We're looking at today an empire and its colonies and how Great Britain chose to govern its colonies in North America in a very different way than the French or the Spanish did, who definitely had more direct control, especially the French, who were still in the age of absolutism and such. The British are going to choose an entirely different route and give their colonies a limited degree of independence, which the colonists will come to expect. This is called salutary or benign neglect. When we say neglect, we usually think of a bad thing, but the colonists did not feel this way. This is mainly because of the English Civil War, in which Parliament were fighting the crown over authority, and this kind of ended with the execution of Charles I. You can see him here beheaded, Oliver Cromwell creating the Commonwealth and all of that fun stuff. The Dutch, in the meantime, have become a very big rival for the English, especially in trade, and so the colonies proved to be a sticking point for this because many colonists were trading illegally with the Dutch because they had cheaper prices. So the English tried to rein this in by passing a series of navigation acts, which you can see here. They had a number of different purposes, but mainly to make sure the money stayed in England. And you can see here they could only trade with England. Certain goods could only go to England, and certain things could go on an English ship. These are not very well enforced. They were difficult to enforce, but they were there, at least for the principle. The main thing is this was a big part of a policy, an economic policy called mercantilism, or you may have heard it called mercantilism, in which colonies really exist in order to bring gold and silver into the parent country or the mother country. And so that was the goal here, was that the colonies were only supposed to trade with England so that money went into England. That's the purpose for having the colonies, not because you feel sympathetic or compassionate for the people there, but rather because they are going to make money for you. And so they will try to enforce some of these acts over time. But as long as the colonies provide the materials necessary and then buy back those manufactured goods and don't get them from anywhere else, then England's pretty happy. The money is coming in, and so therefore they are willing to turn the other way and allow the colonies to have things like assemblies and town meetings and such. That is until James II comes to power. He is Catholic, but more importantly at this point, he believes in absolutism. He doesn't want to have Parliament to deal with. And in the colonies, that means no independence, no autonomy is a fancy word for independence there. And then when his wife does give birth to a son, there's a fear of a Catholic dynasty in England. So there's that fear there, coupled with the changes that he makes in the colonies. You can see that the Dominion of New England is created, which does away with a lot of that freedom that the colonists had enjoyed up until this point. There's no more town meetings. There's no assemblies. There's no authority whatsoever. Sir Edmund Andros comes over from England, and he's going to enforce all of these rules to make sure that the colonies are there for England. The English in the colonies are absolutely shocked. They had never had to deal with this much direct control, or what they viewed as interference. Their freedom of religion, in their mind, is hurt as they have to support the Church of England, which many of them had left. Merchants are hurt. And then back in England, since Parliament becomes very upset with James II, he's usurping or undermining their authority. And again, with the birth of a son who's Catholic, there's a lot of fear. So Parliament secretly writes to his daughter, Mary, who is in the Netherlands with her husband, William, and they're both Protestant. They invite them over as rightful heirs to the throne, in which they decide to take Parliament up on. And in 1688, William and Mary do come to England. William brings an army in case James decides to fight back, but he does not. He flees to France, which is probably not the best decision if he wants to protect his claim to the throne. But the power is transferred over to William and Mary, and this is known as the Glorious Revolution. Glorious because it's bloodless. For the colonies, this means that the Dominion of New England would be over. So many English officials who had received their jobs because of this royal absolutism tried to hide the news of the Glorious Revolution from the colonists, but they couldn't, obviously, forever. And so the Dominion was overthrown. Andros was arrested and sent back to England. The colonies enjoyed their limited independence once again, which is going to be important for the future.